students. This is Dr. P. Chandana, working as an associate professor in the Department of CSC IIRE. So I'm here with the subject of computer organization and architecture, where we have already seen about the basic concepts of computer organization as a concept of introduction to computer organization. In this context, we have been learned some of the things like what exactly the basics of a computer organization. We have been dealt with the concepts like what is a basic definition of a computer, and how the basic functional units are existing in the computer, and how each and every unit is been getting operated with respect to the internal operation by means of a contents or by means of a special circuits like combinational circuits. So as a part of this, we have been seeing different organizations like CPU organization, memory organization, and IO organization. So now we are going to see about the other part of the computer organization. We have been dealt with the data perception or data side representation, where we have been focused with the concepts like how exactly the data is represented, how the medium of communication is possible with respect to end user and the computer. We are saying that computer is a machine, or computer is a peripheral device or electromechanical device. So when you're saying that it is an electronic device, how a system or how a human can interact with the electromagnetic device or electromechanical device. So that is a major perception we have to see. So as a part of this, we have been seeing the other side of the computer organization, which is related with the context of data representation. So in the context of this, we have been focused with the basic things like how exactly the communication mode is possible between the end user and the computer. Now, in this aspect, we have been gone for the basic concepts of the programming languages. So, basic concepts of programming languages, where we have been seeing how different modes of programming languages can help us or help a mission to understand the human perception. So, whatever the query is given by the human perception, how it is getting navigated to the computer, it is basically explained in the internal organization as a context of programming languages. As a part of this, we have been learnt about the concepts of assembly language instructions, where the assembly language instructions concept is to understand how the data which is communicated in the form of human language can be interacted with the computer by means of the intermediate representation. And we are calling this intermediate representation as mnemonics. Now, as a context of the mnemonics, we should see that what is the meaning of a mnemonic, or what is the meaning of what exactly the instruction given by the customer or end user, how it has been exactly interpreted into the intermediate node. So that means the interpretation is also one of the basic concerns we have to see in assembly notation. So as a part of this, we have been learnt about the context of how the mnemonics have been generated in the form of different notations like instruction formats, instruction set architecture design, and instruction set. So these are the three different things which has been focused with the context of data representation. Here our major focus is to understand in how many ways we can represent a single data which is communicated by the user, so that your system is working flexibly, efficiently, and very effectively. So the context of these three things have been generally involved in understanding the data representation. Due to this reason, instruction set architecture design, assembly language instructions, instruction formats, these three are playing a key role in understanding the design of the computer. Now, for today's session, we are going for the other end, or the other part of the computer organization, where the data representation is focused. So in today's class, we'll be dealing with the context of register transfer language, and register transfer. So before going for this subject, let us discuss with the basic concepts of operational concept which has been got into the picture of register, or which has been termed with the name of register. So let us start with the example. So already in the basic operational concepts, we have discussed this basic operational concepts in the first unit, where we have seen how a simple instruction or a simple program is getting executed with the help of the internal components of a computer. So for understanding this, we have taken three basic instructions like load, R1, LOC. Next add, R1, R2. Now store, LOC comma R2. So we have taken 3 instructions and we have been executing these 3 instructions with the help of a computer by using its internal functional units. So what are the program or what are the code you are writing? These are nothing but instructions. These are nothing but set of instructions intended to perform the task. Here my operation is to simply add 2 numbers. For adding these 2 numbers, I have taken 2 variables, LOC and R1. Now R1 and R2 are been added and it has been storing again with the LOC. So here we are using some special concepts. So let us discuss with the same case. Whatever the program you are writing, first it is being loaded into memory. Now by using the memory, we are fetching the operation and we are trying to execute the instructions. So whenever the memory is being loaded with the program, now it has to interact with the machine so that it can operate the end user's communication or so that it can operate end user's task. So for understanding this, we have been gone for processor memory interface. Processor memory interface. Now, as a part of this, the processor memory interface, we used to have 2 special registers which focus exclusively on memory transfer information. So memory transfer information we have for this is MAR and MDR, which is intended for holding the data in memory. One is for holding the address of the memory or address location. MDR is to hold the data in or load the data in address location or load the data from the address location. Load data from the address location. These are the special registers intended only to do exclusively use of memory operations. Now, what are the operations you are performing? First, your program is stored in memory. Now, once the program is stored in memory, it has to call the program, it has to start executing it. So, whenever it is been called, it is been loaded into the every instruction which you are calling, it will be called in a line by line fashion or in a sequential fashion. So first instruction will be called and will be loaded into the register called as instruction register. And whatever is been executing, it will not, the system or a CPU will not wait for a single instruction to execute for every time. So what it will do is, when one instruction is getting executed, parallelly it will operate with the next instruction. That means the next instruction which is in the sequence will be loaded or getting ready for the execution. So for getting this information, we are going for the program counter. Next one is, so instruction register is to hold the current execution or current instruction execution, and program counter is to hold for the next coming instruction to be executed. Now, as a part of these 2 things, if at all it is having any temporary allocations of calculations. So as usual, we have a data values, or as usual, we have a calculation portions and controlling portions by means of a special units called as control unit and arithmetic logic unit, which is a basic functional units in a computer. Control unit will simply redirect the operations from all the other units or redirects to all the other units, redirect signals to all the other units. And arithmetic logic unit is intended to handle the operations whichever is intended by the end user. So here we have the operation of add, load and store. So these are 3 instructions which have been passed off. So I have been fetched from memory, I have been given to ALU, it has to calculate and present me the result. If at all it is holding for the temporary operations, for example, it is running for multiple times, so it has to store for a temporary location, so temporary values, then we need to use a special context called as general purpose registers. General purpose registers, which are ranging in the set of array of R0 to Rn minus 1. So these are the set of operations which you are trying to handle with respect to our basic operational concepts. We are saying that every time the system or a program is being saved with some file name, it is loaded into memory, it is fetched from memory, it is started executing, and you are getting the results. But internally, each and every line of the program is being called by means of instruction register and program counter, memory address register, memory data register. Apart from this, if at all you have any temporary calculations, those will be monitored and maintained by means of general purpose registers R0 to Rn minus 1. Now, So here, what are the things you are using? How many registers you need to use? How many registers have been there? All these things have been generally explained in the context of register. So to understand the context of register transfer language, we are going to see what exactly the register mean. We are saying that this is for temporary location or temporary purpose. Now, what is the difference between this general purpose and IR, PC and MAR and MDR? So we are going to see all these things in the today's session. So as a context of this, we have been going to learn about what do you mean by register, and then we'll move on for the context of register transfer language, and we'll be defining with the terms of what exactly, how the data from one register will be transferred to another register. And apart from this, we also see in this particular module, we are going to see about how can we connect n number of registers at a time so that it can have a parallel communication. And arithmetic logic and micro operations which you are performing, or arithmetic logic shift unit which you are performing, what is the intention of how the design of ALU is exactly designed so that it can incorporate our arithmetic operations, logic operations and shift operations. So you're going to see all these things in this particular module. So as a part of today's session, we are going to discuss about the register transfer language and register transfer. So let's start with the register transfer language. So the basic idea here is to understand what is the meaning of register and what is the use of registers and how the data have been generally performed with the help of registers. So here, generally, our computer is generally a connection of hardware modules which has to perform certain tasks to process the information. Now, in this context, we are having some basic notations of basic circuits which help us to reach out this particular task. So in the context of this, we will be using the registers and the associated operations which can help us to incorporate the context called as digital module. Digital module in the sense, what is the task we are doing? For getting the task, are we incorporating with a set of units or not? For example, I have a refill. Without pen, how can I use the refill? So similarly, we have a computer. Without its operation, how can we perform the task in a computer? Because of this reason, we are saying that registers and the associated operations which are performed on the data will incorporate a context called as digital module. Now, the modules are generally connected with the common data system or common data and control paths to handle the digital computer system. So, the modules have been generally connected with the common data and common control paths so that it can handle the computer system. So, we'll see what is the meaning of this. So, here, in order to initiate a communication between one person to another person, we have a mode of communication like human language. Similarly, when you're saying that there are digital modules or digital tasks to accomplish the task or digital modules to accomplish some operation, we need to see that how it is incorporated and how it can interact with each other. So they do have some certain language and signs to have the representation. So because of this reason, we are having a context called as micro operations, which intends what exactly the operation is intended for, what exactly the task is intended about. This case is called as micro operations. These operations are executed on the data which is stored in one or more registers. For example, I am writing R1 implies R1 plus R2. So what I am doing, I am adding two numbers and the result is stored in R1. So I am adding two numbers and result is stored in R1. By looking at this, we can easily understand. But how can a system can understand? Or how can a digital module can understand? So for understanding this, we have been calling this as a micro operations. So now, any function in the computer is a context of sequence of micro operations, which is used to describe the task. And the result of operation can be anything. It can be binary information or it can be information transferred from one register to another register. So here is the example for the transferring of information. I am performing shift right operation. I am performing shift right operation on one register to another register. So shift right operation in the sense I am performing only on register 1. So this is my original data. This is my original data. From this original data, I am performing the shift right operation. Shift right means moving a bit right. So one bit will be moved towards the right. So this will be moved out. So this will become 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. And you can find that the 1 is missing over here and it has been coming to the next bit position. The first place will be replaced with a 0. So in this way, the shift right positions or shift right micro operation is performed on the register. So next one is hardware organization of the digital computer. It's generally identified by specifying some of the tasks. First one is a set of registers and their functions which are intended for. For example, here we have seen two forms of registers, MAR and MDR. It is intended for memory operations only. IR and PC is intended for the program operations only. These are for temporary operations. So, what is a task? What is the registers you are using? What are the specific operations with respect to that registers are also. So, the set of registers and their functions are mandatory. Next one is the sequence of micro operations which are performed on the information stored in the register is also one of the concern. Next one is the control which initiates the sequence of operation. For example, in this case, we have written three statements. So, who will initiate the next line is add. Who will initiate the next line is store. Why not after load store can be added or store can be loaded. So, they should be having some control instructions to initiate. The next sequence is the add statement than the store statement. So, the sequence of operation should also have the control path designs. So these are the three basic points we have to focus for handling the digital computer organization with the specific contents or specific representations. So in an overall case, we can explain that the digital computer is nothing but a composition of registers, micro operations hardware, and control logics or control functions. The combination of these three is leading to the context of digital computer design. Now, the next coming task is register transfer language. So what do you mean by register transfer language? So register transfer language is a case. How do you represent the registers? What is the format of representing the registers? So do we have any specific notations for them to handle? So such kind of operations are called as register transfer language. It is something like a symbolic notation for representing the micro operations and the register context. So in this case, we are going to define the symbols for the types of micro operations, and we are going to discuss the hardware which implements the micro operations. So these are the two things we are going to discuss for the register transfer language notation. Now, in this case, we have some of the basic computer registers which can be explained with an example. So as a part of this, we have been discussed with the basic registers over here. The same thing will be explained over there. So here, you can see that MAR is nothing but it is a register which is holding the address of the memory. It can consider only the address location of a memory. Next one is program counter, which is intended for the next sequence of instruction to be executed or points to the next instruction that has to be executed. Instruction register, which is used to hold the current instruction that has to be executed. Current instruction that has to be executed. And when it comes to the other forms of register, we have one more register called as status register, which explains the status of the corresponding information, whether it has been set to 0 or set to 1. And the thing is, general purpose registers, we have been representing with the terminology of capital R followed by the numerals. So these are the set of conventions used for representing some forms of examples or some forms of functions of the registers. Now, let us consider the register transfer. So, now what do you mean by register? So, we are saying that register is a temporary location where you can hold the data. But what exactly register mean? So, register is nothing but a set of flip-flop. Register is nothing but a set of combinational circuits where it can process the information holding. So register transfer is nothing but it is a combination of flip-flops which is assigned generally to handle at least one byte of information. So here we start with the register as a set of flip-flop where one flip-flop can hold either 0 or 1. So now in this way I'll be using for representing one byte of information, I'll be using set of 8 flip-flops to consider. Set of 8 flip-flops to consider 1 byte of information. This is minimum. So here we have a combination of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th bit and 7th bit. So in order to hold 1 byte of information, we need to group 7 flip-flops to consider the bit representation either 0 or 1. So these kind of information can be represented like this. So we are having this as a combination of flip-flops with n bit registers is equals to 0 to n minus 1. This is 0 to n minus 1. And here the combination of representing the register is defined as capital R followed by numeral. So this is a symbolic representation of register, and this is a bitwise representation of a register, which is a block diagram of a registers. There are some special registers where you need to have only a portion of that to be used, or a portion of a register should be used for some purpose, and a portion of register is used to hold the data. So such kind of examples we can go for another kind of transfer of registers where you can have a special purpose register called as program counter, which is initiated for the 0 to 16 bit of information. 16 bit, or which is intended to hold 16 bit of information. Now, either we can use the complete 16 bit, or else we can divide them into 2 portions, and we can have these 2 portions to be appended for some specific tasks. So we will be defining these 2 portions into low order byte and high order byte. Low order byte or high order byte. As this is for 16 bits, we can also say it is a word. High order word and low order word. So these are the 2 special things we can have for the combination of the operations. Either we can implement the complete 16 bit, or we can only use the portion of a 16 bit, and we can use the other portion for serving the instruction code or opcode or any other operations. So in this way, we will be performing the transfer of registers or representation of register with the help of a block diagram. Now, we are going to see how the micro operations on registers can be explained. So information transfer from one register to another registers are generally used or are generally represented by means of a special symbol called as replacement operator. This is called as replacement operator, where you are having an arrow coming from the other end to the right side to left side, which is assigned that R1 data has been loaded into R2. Now, here the statement denotes the transfer of content from register R1 to register R2. And here, as we are saying, this is a complete digital computer context. We need to see that every time the data which you are transferring, it is initiated from timing to timing pulses, or within a clock cycle, the data operation should be performed. Because as we're discussing this, we have a context of explaining this with respect to timeless concept. But digital computer is specially designed with the missions, and each mission is being synchronized with the clock pulses. This is mandatory. Because of this reason, if you are initiating this transfer or any other transfer, it should initiate only in the clock cycles. So, transfer is generally happened here in the 1 clock cycle. The content of R1 is acting as a source, R2 is acting as a destination. So what happens in the R2 value, if at all it is containing any value, it will be overwritten with the R1 content. Now, here we will be seeing the context of transfer of this information from register R1 to R2 with the help of a block diagram using combinational circuits. Let us see the example. So here, there is one more thing which you have to focus is, we are saying that as it is a digital computer operation, every transfer should initiate with a clock cycle. Similarly, once it is initiated with a clock cycle, it should have some special signal notation called as control signals. So here we are going with the control signals to express the representation of R2 implies R1 or R1 implies R2 with respect to some special notation called as binary condition. So what are you doing here is, our statement is R2 implies R1. Now, how can we express this? There should be some control initiation stating that it should initiate only at the time of 1 clock cycle. So, for understanding this, we will be representing with P implies R2 implies R1, or P states with the R2 implies R1. So, what is the meaning of this? There is some condition. If P is equals to 1, then only perform R2 to R1. Otherwise, break the statement or simply give the error. So here the content of R1 is transferred to R2 only if P is equals to 1. So we can write this simple statement with a conditional logic like this. the conditional logic like this. So this is the way how we have to represent the digital system representation with the help of a control signal. This is a control signal. Now, here is the example of a hardware implementation of a control transfer. So what did we say? We can divide into two sets. What did we say? We have been said that data has been assigned from R1 to R2. That means data in R2 will be overwritten with the value coming from R1. Now, every time the register transfers or whatever the operations you are saying, that should be initiated with the help of a clock pulses. Now, once the clock has been initiated, it has to transfer the content from R1 to R2. But in order to handle this transfer in a sufficient or an efficient manner, we need to have a control circuit to decide whether to transfer or not. So we have a control circuit, we have a clock pulse, we have to initiate the transfer. So once the clock is generated, the load will be appended so that R1 content will be pushed on to R2. Now, this is something like a combination that a digital system is completely busy with so many other tasks. So it has to initiate, there will be a sequence of instructions coming from the execution. But which instruction has to initiate, which instruction has to take care, or which instruction has to operate, it also depends on the case of a control circuit. Because of this reason only, control circuit is playing a key role in understanding the context of instruction execution. So because of this reason, you can write so many statements, but which statement should be executed is decided by the control circuit. So because of this reason, R1 is initiating its transfer only if the load is sufficient, or only if the load statement is, if P is equals to 1, then only we are initiating the transfer. Otherwise, it is simply discarded. Now, if you observe this, what is the meaning of this what is the meaning of this slash represents? For example, you have 4 bits in R2, that is, let us consider 4 bits for operating, or 4 bits for the example. So in R1 I have, R2 I have 0, 1, 1, 1. In R1 I have 1, 0, 1, 1. Now, what I am doing, I am transferring R1 content to R2. So, transferring R1 content to R2 means it has to overwrite and it should append with the value of 1, 0, 1, 1. Now, how it is getting transferred? If you observe that, you can see that R1 is 1, 0, 1, 1. R2 is 0, 1, 1, 1. Now, if you observe this, the transfer of operations from R1 to R2 is affecting each bit which is assigned in R1 should be affecting the same bit in R2. So, the bit operations wise, it has to consider the task of completion. For example, this is 0 bit, 1 bit, 2nd bit and 3rd bit. So, 3rd bit. So, these are the bitwise representations. So, bit 0 will affect the 0th bit of R2 and it is overwritten with 1. Similarly, first bit will interact with the first bit of R2 and it will be overwritten with 1. And second bit will be interacting with the second bit and it will be overwritten with 0. And third bit is interacting with R2. Third bit is interacting with the third bit of R2 and it has been overwritten with the value 1. So, the value of R2 is overwritten and it has been given with a new value 1, 0, 1, 1. So, in order to represent the number of bits you are transferring, you are representing this with a group of lines slash n. Group of lines as slash n. So, this is the way how we are operating with the digital combinations of hardware circuit. Now, in order to explain the logic diagram of this, we'll go with the clock cycle of a timing diagram. Here is the clock pulse, where you can observe there are clock ticks and we are considering some t value. Now, I have so many instructions. Now, I have to initiate the instruction. So, initially, whenever you are transferring any information or whenever you are performing any instruction, unless and until the control is initiated, you cannot start the operation. Even if you start also, it will take some time. So, this is a basic thing you have to understand. So, clock pulse will be initiated. This is general common sequence. This don't have any disturbances. Clock cycle as usual, it is a digital pulses. Now, in the first clock cycle, the load is just initiated. That means ignition mode has been initiated. So, once the load has been initiated, from the second clock pulse onwards, it starts getting executed. So, from the second clock pulse onwards, it just activates and load is transferred. Transfer is happened and once it is completed, it stops the execution. So, that means For example, if I'm giving some lecture, somebody comes inside or somebody want to come inside, what they will do? They'll ask me permission. If I'm busy in delivering the lecture, what I will do? I will make them stop. Otherwise, I'll ask him to get in. Similarly, here also, we are just starting the initiation. Control has been initiated. Once it is getting ready, then only at the pulse of T, it is getting started. So once the load has been completed or load has been initiated, the transfer is initiated. Once the transfer is completed, the load has to get down. So we are getting down at T plus 1 pulse. So from T to T plus 1, we have a combination of transferring a content from R1 to R2. So this is synchronized with the consideration of clock pulses. So we'll be synchronizing this with the clock pulses. This is about the controlled transfer operations with respect to registers. That means we are writing the statement in a simple notation that C equals to 10 or A equals to B. But how it is exactly transferring, how it has been generally performed by using this hardware circuit. So in this way, it is getting operated with the context of instructions execution in the form of registers. Now, we have some basic symbols to express the register transfers. So basic symbols and basic notations we have to express the registers. For example, I have some name. With my name only you can call. Without my name you cannot even represent me. So for representing the data within the registers or data within the context of registers, we need to have some special notations and symbols to represent. So we cannot represent this with a small r. We have to represent only with the capital R. So we have set of sequences and technical representations for the registers and register transfers. So first one is letters and numerals. Letters and numerals represents that it is denoted for the registers. And here we can express either with the capitals or as capital with numerals. So these are the two representations for the letters and numeral symbols. Next one is parenthesis. If at all I am intended to use the portion of a register but not the complete register, then I have to use this kind of operation. So what is the byte information? What is the bit information I am using? So 0 to 7 bits for one task, 8 to 15 bits for another task. So that such kind of things I have to operate or propagate it correctly. Otherwise, it may go wrong. The next one is arrow. So arrow for representing the transfer of information. This is a replacement operator to handle the transferring of information. So this is an example for representing the replacement operation. The last one is set of operations with the micro operations. So if at all I want to represent the set of sequence of operations, I'll be defining them as a micro operation. So comma. So if at all I want to define with a set of operations, I have to separate with a special symbol called as comma. So here is the example of representing those micro operations. So for today's session, we have been discussed the basic functionality of how exactly the register is by taking an example. What is the importance of registers? And after that, we have been focused on what exactly the representation of register means, or what exactly what do you mean by register, how the register transfers are initiated, and what is the importance of registers, and what do you mean by micro operations. We have seen the example of registers as a set of flip-flops or a group of flip-flops connected together to handle at least one byte of information. And we have seen the example of this as a representation, the bit format as well as the number or symbolic format. Next one is the special register will be using as a block diagram where you can either use the 16-bit information or a portion of 16-bit to perform the task, which is considered as high order byte and low order byte. Next one is the representation of a micro operations to initiate the transfer of information. For understanding this, we have been gone for a control logic to handle the control hardware representation of a register transfer. So we have seen the example of hardware representation where you have a combinations of two registers, clock pulse as well as a control circuit. So in order to initiate this transfer, we have been explained with the timing diagram of a clock cycle. And here is the basic symbolic representation or a syntactical or a terminology representations for the handling of register transfers. So this is about for today's session. So in the next session, we'll be discussing about the context of how many registers we may use. If at all I'm using n number of registers, how can you handle the operations of those registers? So we have to synchronize the registers with respect to the synchronization of speed of a computer. So we are saying that this is for temporary location, but how the data in that can be synchronized so that your system can operate in an efficient and effective manner. So we are going to discuss this with the next session by using a bus and memory transfer. So for today's session, we have been discussing about register transfer language, where we have been seeing about what is the importance of registers and where it is playing a key role in understanding the operational concepts. So we can divide the registers into two types. One is special purpose registers and general purpose registers. In the special purpose registers, we have a special category like MAR, program counter, instruction register, status register, etc. In general purpose registers, we have registers ranging from 0 to n-1. So the basic usage of registers is to understand or to hold the data locations for temporary executions. It can hold the data signals, it can hold the control signals, it can hold some other basic operations also, or opcodes also. These are the basic importance of the registers. So here we are, because of this reason only, we are saying that it will constitute a digital module. The operations and the register combinations will constitute a digital module. The next one is micro operations, which is intended to handle the executions from one or more registers. So the result of the operation can be either a previous information or it can have the data with respect to the same register operations. So here the data with respect to micro operation is explained using a shift right operation. So here what is the operation you are intended for? It is shift right. We are saying that shift right means the data in the register is shifted one bit towards the right. So the transfer of information has been generated into this format where one bit is transferred and the total bit has been just moved out, and the last bit, which is MSB, will be replaced with a 0. The internal hardware configuration or organization of this computer is specified by means of a set of basic operations where it is having a combination of registers, sequence of operations, and control logic which initiates the sequence of operations or micro operations. So all together we can say that a digital computer is composed of hardware or micro operations hardware, registers, and control logics or control signals. Next one is the register transfer language is used to handle the symbolic notation to identify or to represent the micro operation transfers. So in order to consider this, we'll be having some specific notations like defining the symbols and hardware which is implementing the micro operations. Now, the registers are generally classified, as we already said that there are two forms of registers. One is special purpose registers and the other one is general purpose registers. We can see the examples over here where you can have the different forms of registers intended to perform specific tasks only. One is to handle the processor registers, which initiates the data holding or data temporary operations. Memory address registers, which is intended to hold only memory operations. Program counter to handle the coming sequence of instruction or next sequence of instruction. Instruction register only to handle the operation of current execution of instruction. Status registers to initiate a status of the operation. Once it is getting operated, you should check the status. It is working fine or not. So for such kind of things, we will be using the status registers. So here is the example of a registers where what exactly the meaning of a register is. It is a group of flip-flops which is combined together to handle the 1 byte of information at least. So it is a group of flip-flops which can hold only 1 bit of information, that is either 0 or 1. So it is a group of flip-flops which are connected at least to hold 1 byte of information, and it is ranging from 0 to n-1. So 0 to 7. So we are saying this is just 1 byte. So we are getting 8 bits of information. 8 bit of information. And this is a symbolic notation to represent the register. So we have a register name followed by the numerals. And here is the example where you can have a special purpose register. Either you can use it as a complete one or you can part it for handling the operations of the two different registers. Next one is register transfer operations, which is initiated to handle with respect to control hardware or hardware control. So here you can see the hardware control of the corresponding register transfer. So the basic intention of R2 implies R1 is explained using transfer of register R1 content to R2. So in order to consider this, we can have a control logic for this, stating that if P is equals to 1, then only you have to transfer R2 with respect to R1 or R1 with respect to R2. So such kind of initiation is being controlled by means of a control circuit. And once it is satisfying the condition, it will be initiating the load so that you can transfer the content from R1 to R2. This is source and this is destination. So as it is a complete hardware circuits, every hardware circuit is initiated and synchronized by means of a clock pulses. Because of this reason, we have a clock pulse to initiate the transfer. So once it is initiated with the clock pulses, then only when the load is initiated and clock pulse is synchronized, we'll have a transfer which is happening in the T2 T plus 1. So once the clock is initiated, the load is initiated. So at the first instance, we don't have any transfers to be contained. Once the load is satisfying, then only we can start the execution. So until this the condition is checked. P is equals to 1 is verified. If it is verified, P is equals to 1 is verified. If it is verified, then only we can have the transfer from T to T plus 1. It is initiating the transfer. Finally, it is concluding with the synchronization of clock pulse. So these are the special basic symbols and basic notations to have the register transfer operations. So we can have the examples of this, where you can have the combinations with the capital letters or else letter with numerals. You can have two special operations by means of a parenthesis defining the low order byte and the high order byte. Transferring the signals, so transferring of information from R2 to R1. And initiation of micro operations by using this, separation of micro operations by means of a comma. So these are the 4 different symbolic representations for handling the register transfers. So by this, your register transfers have been completed. In the next class, we'll see that how to synchronize multiple registers handling of operations with the help of a bus. So in the first unit, we have been learnt about the context of bus. So we are going to see the importance of bus, how importance of bus and what is the meaning of bus and how it is been generally designed so that transfer of operations from one unit to another unit is possible. So as a part of this, we'll be learning with the register to register transfers by means of a bus. So we'll see the bus unit operations in the next session. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.